welcome to Recapitulation, the show where we check out this week's most notable music releases. So, we're back, we're better than ever. I have notes in front of me, big microphone, big light, got the background, learnt a lot from the last episode, and ready to share with you some of the best new music that I've heard this week. So we're going to go through artists that you've heard of, you've definitely heard of. We're going to go through artists that you've never heard of. And I'm going to show you some of the most interesting releases that you can go listen to yourself, form an opinion yourself, discuss with your friends, everything you should be doing with music. So to kick us off, big news, the Jonas Brothers are back! The Jonas Brothers are back! The TV show that some of us, or maybe even all of us, were watching on Disney Channel when we were a kid, or Saturday Disney. They are back and better than ever. Their album is called Happiness Begins and came out today, today being Friday, the 7th of June. And this album is definitely going to appeal to a lot of their old fans who used to watch the TV show back in the day. The album is kind of like your classic pop album. It ticks a lot of the check boxes of, you know, when pop artists, they kind of fuse a bunch of subgenres into one album, makes it seem like they're cultured. All of the songs on the album are unbelievably catchy, but I mean, it was almost like it was engineered to be that way. All of their songs back when they were in their teenage, early 20s prime, back in the TV show days, were just as catchy, and that continues here. None of the songs on there were, like, bad. And I mean, being a boy band performance as well, the lyrics are reasonably shallow, but you know, you can't really get personal and in-depth if there's three guys in the band kind of singing at different times. But yeah, I mean, to summarize this album, it almost seems like the Jonas Brothers' take on modern pop, fusing together elements of their past, elements of different subgenres within pop, and just what you would hear on the top charts now, which means that I reckon this album is going to be a hit. It's pretty safe to say. Usually these kind of albums are. But we'll see where it goes, I guess, and we'll see where the Jonas Brothers go from here. Next of all, I want to introduce you to an artist, for number 2, called Amber Mark. Amber Mark has released a few EPs, a few singles over the years, but nothing that's really taken off. I don't think she's really taken off yet, but she's definitely starting to be more listened to. Amber Mark is based in New York City. She's 23 and she is kind of in the R&B and soul scene. So if you're into that, you are going to be into Amber Mark. The R&B and soul influence comes out straight away. Her voice is unbelievably kind of chilled. Almost kind of reminds me of Erykah Badu. Her kind of like vocal tone and expression, she kind of replicates in some way. I don't know if it's on purpose. The song that I'm talking about is actually What If, her latest single. This can also be applied to her previous single, which came out a few weeks ago, called Mixer. But yeah, the instrumentation's super chilled, the strings is super chilled, just everything together blends really well. And if you're into R&B or you just like anything that's super chilled, definitely check this one out. So next up is an artist that I've loved for a little while now. Her name's Sampa the Great, and she is an Australian artist. I say Australian because she was born in Zambia, kind of going between Zambia and Botswana when younger, and then moved to Australia, and that's when her music career kind of really launched. But she is a rapper, and really, really talented. I was lucky enough to see her in 2016 as she opened for Hiatus Coyote at Sydney Opera House during Vivid. One of my favourite bands of all time. Love them. Steve, if you're watching this, you'll know. But Sampa the Great is a really, really awesome musician, and that opinion kind of flows through to her latest single, which is Final Form. Her rapping in this song it's clean, it's smart, the flows are fantastic, and she's rapping over this 70s funk kind of sample and instrumentation, which is just so catchy and captivating. It's driving the whole time. I didn't really find myself getting bored at all during the song. I mean, it's not that long of a song. But yeah, like, it just ended out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, it's over. It was cool. Really, really cool. And I mean, the message from this song was all about kind of black power, which is really inspiring to a lot of people, is going to be really inspiring to a lot of people. But yeah, just really, really groovy, and has a fantastic music video filmed in Zambia and Botswana, which you should definitely all check out. But go check out the song. I reckon that a lot of people who aren't so into trap, that kind of segment of modern rap, might be more interested in this kind of thing. But just a really inspiring musician and inspiring music video and great song. Next of all, one of the most vibey, chilled, awesome jazz musicians. I'm talking about Ayres. A lot of Ayres songs in the past have been known for their real kind of jazzy, funk-inspired, R&B inspired vibe. And this continues on his new single, which is Jumping Off the Moon. When I listen to this song, I kind of imagine like sitting on a train, the bleak winter weather that we have in Sydney now, just staring out the window, imagining things being better. I don't know, when you're listening like really chilled, really emotional, really vibey music, this is what you want to be listening to in those situations. I've been a big fan of Ayres for a while, and this single has really kind of just made me love him more. The instrumentation in this song is super chilled. The string samples are perfect, really clean drum sound and beautiful guitar, electric guitar kind of solo patterns and electric piano sound as well. But it's perfectly mixed, perfect effects. Like, I just can't really fault it. I mean, the only thing I could really say about it is that maybe the song gets a little bit boring. It kind of drags on a bit. There's not too much variation. Yeah, no. This is just a really chilled banger, something I would listen to on repeat for ages, something you don't really have to pay much attention to enjoy. So if that's your thing, check it out. If you love jazzy vibes, this will be for you. Next on the list is an artist that a lot of you may know from YouTube, not necessarily kind of conventional music, and that's Audrey MiKa. Audrey MiKa has been massive on YouTube for a while. She's that girl who does the really low-key kind of covers with that massive pink microphone, recorded pretty basically, that has accrued a massive following, especially very recently since the start of the year. She released an album pretty much at the start of the year, but she's back with a new single, Why You Gotta Be Like That, but what? I can't do that. No, I gotta try this. Why You Gotta Be, I don't know. But anyway, so Audrey MiKa is 18 years old, same age as me. Makes me a bit sad when I see like someone who's 18 like killing it, and here's me talking to a camera about music that I didn't write. And anyway, Audrey MiKa is superbly talented, especially for her age, but awesome, really, really chilled, controlled voice, so much creativity. The song itself is, and a lot of her music in the past, is super, super simple. It's not overdone, but that is never a bad thing. You get so many songs now, which is just layer on layer on layer. Like, you check out the recordings and the Pro Tools files and all that kind of stuff, and you have hundreds and hundreds of tracks. And I mean, that can work, but you don't have to record that way. And songs like this kind of show how nice it is sometimes to have such a simply produced song. And Audrey MiKa as well is a bit of an inspiration for a lot of young people trying to find an audience on the internet, because she kind of became really famous just by being herself. I mean, you know, she's not afraid to express herself and kind of be a bit random, like sitting in bathtubs, singing, lying around, just having a good time. And it's because of that character that she's risen to fame, as well as her beautiful, really, really calming and accurate voice. But yeah, so go check out the single, see if you like it, and check out her YouTube channel as well, because her stuff is just really, really creative and interesting, and quite different to what a lot of people are doing, both her originals and her covers. This last release that I'm going to show you is kind of following a big trend that we're seeing in the music industry recently, which is artists who have unfortunately left us, but their work being kind of continued and finished by their conglomerates, their friends, their family, whoever they were working with previously. So we saw this with XXXTentacion recently. There's been a bunch of songs coming out in which he never finished, songs in tribute of him. It kind of kept his legacy going. We saw this with Nipsey Hussle, who very, very recently we lost in a tragic accident, tragic shooting, and his album was still released. He had probably one of the most well-produced and most notable songs on the latest DJ Khaled album as well, because that was an absolute mess. Don't get me started on that. Anyway, and I think one of the most famous examples was Michael Jackson. When Michael Jackson passed away, he had an album in the making, a bunch of songs that he never released, and they were eventually kind of reproduced, which was a bit of a controversial issue, in the album Escape, however you pronounce that. XCS... Well, I can't spell. But most recently, and in April, quite tragically, and as quite a surprise to many, Avicii passed away. One of the most influential producers in pop for the last kind of 2 decades, really, in the whole of the 2000s, starting with Levels, and then just building up hit after hit after hit. And yeah, passed away with health problems not too long ago. And so today his album came out named Tim, after his first name. And I think this is a tribute album which is worth a listen. It's super clear that his friends and family, Avicii's friends and family, have done a really, really good job at finishing off this album. And by good job, I mean, there wasn't a single song in the album that I didn't think kind of was characteristic of Avicii's usual style. That might have been because of how far along the album was in the production process, or just the fact that his friends and family and maybe fellow producers were able to really properly replicate the sound that we really knew and loved from Avicii. Just these really, really, really catchy instrumentations, the great vocal tracks on top, the really, really cool instrumental solos and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, if you were a big fan of Avicii in the past, I don't think you're going to be disappointed by this album. So go check it out, because it is really, really interesting how now with technology and skill, we're able to kind of keep the legacy going for these artists who have tragically passed away. And that is definitely the case with this new Avicii album. So yeah, go check it out. So that marks the end of the video. Go check out all of those super interesting releases and listen to them. See if you vibe with them, discuss them with your friends, with your family. Go follow me on Instagram for more updates with music super often. And until next time, that's been Recapitulation, the show where we check out this week's most notable music releases. See you next time.